This is the second of 2 completing the square videos. A couple of harder examples here. Enjoy it. Find C such that this expression here is a PST. What did PST stand for again? That was a perfect square trinomial. That is a trinomial, and if we have a correct C value, then this can be written as a binomial squared. And once we've done that, we're going to write the expression as a binomial squared. Same as last time. So in other words, let me ask the question another way. What are the missing numbers here? X squared plus 7x plus c equals, in brackets, x plus something all squared. We want to know what's this missing number here and what's this missing number here. They're not the same, by the way. What's got to go here? Well, what do? We halve this number. Okay, that's always 2b. We halve that, and that gives us 7 over 2. Then we square it. And that gives us, well, how do we square a fraction? You square the top and the bottom. 7 squared over 2 squared. And the brackets disappear. 49 over 4. Okay, and you can leave it like that, just as an improper fraction. We start liking improper fractions more and more as we get into harder and harder math. Why? Well, what's easier to do? 7 over 2 all squared or 3½ all squared? How would you do that? 3 plus a half all squared. Yuck. You'd have to use your special product to do that. Okay, so that's why we like improper fractions so much. They're really easy to work with. So 49 over 4. And what's the missing number here? Well, what was this before we squared it? Okay, or when we first halved it? 7 over 2. And what do we have to say for our answer? Well, remember this is C. So we're just going to say C equals 49 over 4 is one of our answers. And then we wanted to write this expression as, so remember now this is now a perfect square trinomial. You don't need that for the answers, by the way, but get used to saying it. Writing this as a binomial all squared, which is this part. Okay, 2 answers we wanted. We wanted that and that. Okay, now let's try solving an equation again and making it a little bit harder. Maybe we're not going to get a nice number. We're going to have to use our calculator for this one. So we're going to solve this equation, 3x squared plus 12x minus 18 equals 0, using completing the square. Okay, maybe this can be done by factoring, but oh no, actually it can't be, right? Because this is not going to give a nice rational whole number answer. Okay, this is why we do this, right? Factoring doesn't always work. Sometimes a quadratic equation will have solutions, but you can't get it by factoring. You've got to use this method. So completing the square. For this first one, since this is a little harder, this gives us a problem. We want this number to be a 1. What can we do to get rid of that without breaking any laws? Well, we've got 3 times x squared. How do we undo 3 times? And you notice that these numbers here are all divisible by 3. That's what we do. We're just going to divide everything by 3. Divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3, and divide by 3. Divide everything by 3. And that's going to give us x squared plus 4x minus 6 equals 0. And now what we do, we're going to complete the square. So x squared plus 4x. What I do now is I'm going to move this 6 to the other side. Okay, and that's how last lesson's example started. We make a little space here. Now what am I going to add here to make this a perfect square trinomial? And whatever it is, I've got to add it to both sides, okay? Because we have an equation and we've got to keep the left and the right hand sides equal. Same as we always do. Look at this number and we halve it and we get 2, and then we square it and we get 4. Well, that's weird. We end up with 4 again. Sometimes that happens. And we add 4 to both sides. And on the right side, this is just 10. And on the left side, this is now a perfect square trinomial. So it can be written as something plus something all squared. X plus, and what goes here? What was this number before we squared it? That was a 2. Okay, and now this is like less than 10.4 again. Square root both sides. X plus 2 equals plus or minus root 10 or radical 10. Let's move the plus 2 over there now. plus or minus root 10 minus 2. Just be careful here, by the way. Root 10 minus 2 and root 10 minus 2. They are different. Be very careful with that, especially when you're using the calculator. Okay, just make sure if it's root 10, get that answer equals minus 2. If you do that, then yeah, that means you're basically doing root 8 there. So be careful. They are different. Split these up. We're going to get x equals, we get two separate answers. Root 10 minus 2. That's fine. Be careful there. So the 2 is not inside the square root there. You can put a plus there if you like. Or x equals negative root 10 minus 2. And the answers, I might get you to do these and tell me what they are. And you have to round these off to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so 2 decimal places each, please. I think one's positive and one's negative. Write it up in the comments. What do you get?